that
I
she
don't
wants
think I can.
something. Now you have to figure out whether it's feeding to go outside or 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 she wants to go to bed. But you can usually figure those out based on what time it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they like routines.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
If you don't feed them at exactly 4 o'clock, then
they're gonna let you know.
oh yeah, it's feeding time. You didn't know? Yeah.
Yeah, like I fed him. Mark feeds him mostly, but I fed him the other day, and he ate the whole bowl and then came back up to me, which was unusual behavior. Sort of like, "Can I have some more?" I'm like, "Sure, you can have some more." So he's cute, but
Israel
they're
strikes the council that was supposed to be choosing Iran.
I told you that this
I
morning.
know,
And I
but
had audio on it too.
you did, but I should have used it. It hits different at different times. In the morning like that, I'm so overwhelmed that it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm bull in a china shop or something.
Sometimes.
Well, because you know what, if you gave me a quick.
hey Griff, this is selected. Video sales letter is selected. Do I need to change that or just leave it alone? Down here in the OBS controls. It looks okay to me. Okay, thank you. So I met with the stager yesterday to kind of plan out the new studio. I think we're going to move it to the long wall instead of
Okay.
have a window behind us.
Uh huh.
So she's going to look into it. She asked me, how much can I spend?
That's always yeah.
That's always the key.
I'm like, I don't know. What do we need? A couple of
What's your
chairs.
budget look like?
Yeah, we need a couple of chairs. We need some sound thingies. We got to figure out how to control the slides from the chairs, or I do, you know, but I want to have guests. That's my next modification to the show.
But there are several Bluetooth options for the clicker.
Oh, okay, good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we've got that big TV in the room that if I move the setting to the right wall, then right across is a big TV. Can we have a computer that kind of remotes into that and just click from there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That just comes down to getting the right cables.
Now that TV is 11 years old. So I don't even know if we might have to replace it, with something that's Bluetooth capable. I'm not sure it's today's technology. My brother used it to watch the Golf Channel.
There you go.
Of course he did.
They get kicked out of that office because he's never here anyway.
Right.
He's pretty much retired.
You were saying that.
Yeah. I'll throw him a listing bone here and there. He's happy.
Let me close the door here, and I think we're ready to go. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I think so. And I still have that hard 1 o'clock recording. So.
Oh, we got to hurry. Sorry.
I will stay on an accelerated level here. I'll just grab this real quick.
Can you go Ferrari accelerate?
There you are.
I knew he'd like that.
You got it. You know, when you're young, you think you'll own one day, and then you get older, and it's like, hey, you know what?
They're nice to look at, but
Yeah.
I don't want the maintenance bill.
Okay, I'm good to go here. Barb, how about you?
Ready.
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just look for Barb on all of the popular podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, etc. So, Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Oh, Richard, I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. A lot of times the first segment I'm talking about statistics and just the facts, and that's good to have. But at the end of the day, most home sellers want to net the most money when they sell their home. So we're going to hit on some key points about exactly how to do that so that when you sell your house, when you get ready for sale, you're prepared. So that's the first one. And then the second one is kind of a unique one. It's how to price your home to get multiple offers. This, for me, is the happiest time when I'm sitting down with a home seller and getting more than one offer, because they have choices. It puts them in the driver's seat. They're able to pick the best buyer for them. So we'll deep dive on some examples of that, as well as how to position the home to actually get multiple offers. And then the third one is questions that I get a lot of times from home sellers once they accept an offer. A lot of people assume that everybody knows that they've got an offer, but actually that's private information. And then once they accept an offer, then what do? Are they supposed to allow other agents to show? Because really the deal isn't firm yet. I've got one that I'm working with right now where the inspector came in with his gadget, and it's a gadget that he calls a moisture meter, but in fact, it actually just reads temperature differences. And in his mind, oh, there's definitely mold or there's water or moisture behind that wall. He doesn't know. The only truth is there's temperature difference according to his gadget, if in fact it's calibrated right. So we're battling over that issue. Why are we battling over that issue? The seller told us he's never had any moisture ever in the 8 years he's lived there in the basement. So why is this all of a sudden a problem? It's because the inspector ran his gadget along that wall and determined there must be moisture there now. So the deal isn't necessarily certain when you accept a contract. So what we do is we keep marketing the home, because we don't know if the buyer's going to bail out. Just recently, I had a buyer bail out after 3 weeks. He had already paid for inspection and appraisal. And then, oh, sorry, I can't get a loan. I'm like, oh my God, really? You didn't know that going in? But the cold, hard truth is that it's only 1 week of school to be a mortgage broker. And they don't really know if the underwriter is going to approve the loan, especially if they're a rookie and don't really know what they're doing. And of course, he wouldn't disclose to me. It was private information about why this buyer couldn't get the loan. Fortunately, we resold the home right away, but to a cash buyer. But, that uncertainty is the part of home sellers that makes them crazy. So we try to mitigate that. We're going to talk about that. And then the last topic is how to choose the best real estate agent when you're selling a home. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, in this market, I've heard you say for years that home sellers want the most money when they sell their homes. That makes sense. What are some simple ways for our listeners to net more money when they do sell their homes?
Well, Richard, a lot of people think, do I have to do a full-on remodel? Do I have to, blow out the kitchen? And those are very expensive projects. And you don't want to do those projects for your next buyer. You want to do those projects for you. So I always recommend try to keep the home relatively updated as you go along. But if you can't do that, it's okay. There's a different price for that. You can't necessarily price your home as compared to ones that have been completely remodeled when you go on the market. But there's some basic things that you can do where you can actually net more money on the sale. And a lot of them are really, really simple. One of them is just paint and touch-ups. I'm not saying paint the whole house. A lot of people don't really notice, and I don't have a real keen eye when I go into a room, but most people don't really notice if it needs fresh paint. They will notice if it has drama paint, like the Bronco orange wall that I've talked about, or reds in particular, as far as paints, turn to fuchsia online, and that's a guaranteed buyer repellent right there. So don't use red if you can. Try to neutralize colors as much as possible. And you want to go with, soft grays, grayish, creamy white tans, anything that's not too heavy. Avoid heavy browns. Things like paneling look dated. I've seen people paint paneling and it actually makes it look like shiplap. It looks very cool. But it really depends on what your price range is and what kind of buyer you're targeting. There are certain things that you should do in a higher price point that you really don't need to do in a lower price point. So it depends. And that's where we come in. We give our clients an in-person, in-home consultation and tips on what to do or what not to do to get their house ready for sale. And you could call us anytime to do that at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. You also want to focus on the key 6 spaces. Number 1, curb appeal. That's absolutely critical, followed by the living room, followed by the kitchen, followed by the master bathroom, the backyard, and the master bedroom. Those rooms are absolutely critical. Make sure they look fresh, not broken. Update paint if you can. If not, just touch up the paint and have it match. Also, flooring is a big deal. Even relatively new carpet sometimes will show the traffic areas, especially when it's vacant. All flaws get magnified if you position the home as a vacant home. So it's really, really important to deal with those issues up front. And sometimes you can do paint yourself. Could cost $200 to $400 to do it yourself. LED lights, sometimes those actually, there's plenty of those at the Home Depot store, but they make sure your bulbs match. Like if you have a light fixture that has 4 or 5 bulbs, you want them all to be the same intensity and not have one dark and one light. It just looks tacky. And also, as far as daylight and presenting the home, you want to make sure that the curtains are open, the blinds are open. You want it light and bright. Bring the outside in. That's really, really important because the buyers are trying to visualize themselves in the room. So if it looks kind of dark, it doesn't attract a buyer. And decluttering, I could do a whole segment on decluttering, but in general, the quickest way I can tell you how to do this is take your phone, turn it sideways, take a picture of the room and blow it up either on your iPad or somewhere else on a computer. So it speaks back to you. People live with clutter. I have clutter in my house. Everybody has a little bit of clutter in their home, but you don't want to present your home that way. And focus on those key rooms first. Curb appeal, living room, backyard view, kitchen, master bathroom, master bedroom. Those are the rooms where the buyers are very focused in on first, followed by the rest of them. Spare bedroom, if it has drama paint, you don't have to make that your number 1 priority. Most people can get over having one room with drama paint. It's when you have the key rooms with drama paint, like the master, you've got an issue. Also, make sure I've had feedback after my clients have actually met with the stager and she's given them instructions on how to position the home for photos. And usually they'll say, this room just looks like nobody lives here, which is kind of the idea. It's not vacant. It's just more austere. All the stuff off the table, hide away the remotes, pick up the little throw rugs, and consider storage. Consider storing away the furniture that you have to have at your next destination and you want to make sure your home looks good. We also offer a pre-listing checklist on what to do: clean, declutter, neutralize, brighten, fix the basic stuff. And when you're putting up photos, I get that question all the time. Do I have to take every photo of my family down? No, not necessarily, but some people go overboard and cover the entire wall. Or one time I saw a whole staircase going down with their whole life story. And it's fine for living. It's not great for showing. Generally, on a wall, you want one focal point, unless that wall has a window and views, and then that's your focal point. So that's the rule of thumb that I would suggest that you go by. And basically, what are the buyers responding to? Well, the good news right now is the rates are still hovering around that, 5 and 2/3 for the government loans, FHA and VA. Right around 6 is fluctuating up and down at 6 right now, which is good. It's a 1.5 below what it was when the Fed raised the rates in 2022. More buyers are getting tired of waiting. They're actually buying homes right now. So when you go on the market, the way you get the most money is you price it very, very realistically, and you make sure you take care of any broken deferred maintenance, unless that home is priced below market, and then all sins are forgiven. Things that repel buyers would be like clutter, pricing a home too high, or really bad marketing. And I hate to say I see it, but I do. I'll look at pictures of other listings and go, man, they couldn't just pick up for the photo. It's really surprising. If you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get a free in-home evaluation or over the phone evaluation, even, I've done that. I've talked to people and we've done it over FaceTime or Zoom. Give us a call at 719-301-3900. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And I'd love to help you when the time is right. Richard?
We're here talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. And Barb, we're talking about some simple ways to net more money before they even list their house for sale. So what are some of these other things that home sellers regret not doing before they sold their homes?
Well, some people will regret really under preparing the curb appeal. Curb appeal is critical. I've had buyers tell me right now the average is less than 57 seconds when they're looking at homes online before they're moving on. But there are some buyers that say, no, it's more like 5. If I don't like those first couple of pictures, I'm done. I'm gone. So there's quick fixes that you can do with curb appeal, even when we're kind of in the off season. Like right now, it's the springtime. It's not quite warm enough for everything to green up and the mulch is blown away. So you want to do things like refreshen the mulch, clean up the front yard, tidy up the walkway, give the bushes a haircut, make sure that front door looks good and the doorbell's not broken. Also consider, if it's warm enough, painting any peeling paint on the outside. We see it most commonly around doorways or around trim. There are some agents that actually will walk up and say, oh, this home won't go VA. It won't qualify because it has peeling paint. But all those things could be resolved even by the buyer. It's unfortunate to say that agents actually do talk smack about homes when they're showing them. I think they do it to position themselves as experts. They'll even say the home is not worth that much while they're showing. How do I know? We catch them on camera saying these things. So they ask me, why did they say this about my house? And I just say, look, they're just trying to position themselves as experts. Don't worry about it. The buyers typically can see through those things. Another thing that a lot of people regret doing is not replacing tired, worn carpet or cleaning up things that should be cleaned up, like a little mildew in the shower, that stuff. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 to get your free in-home consultation, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker. This is your real estate voice. Barb is with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner broker. You can always reach her at 719-301-3900. When you come back, hang on a second. I have more papers all over the place. And It's blank on the script, so I have to find the second segment.
It's how to price your home to get multiple offers.
How to price your home to get multiple offers.
All right, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. She is the owner-broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. You can always reach her at 719-301-3900. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about how to price your home to get multiple offers. Don't miss that. All right. I got caught up. I had your next recording thing snagged me in the hall when I went to get a new pen. And that's no, but so you know, she wants to do the recording in here because she's bringing the client in person. And I told her, well, you know, we'll be done by then. If we keep moving, we should be done by then. And I said, I can't speak for David, so that's where I left it. All right.
We only have so much space here, so.
Well, she said that normally she does clean feet or something. She just said that it's an artist and visually it would be good and everything. So just so you know. All right. Let me know and we'll keep moving. Barb, I want to tell you, I thought that was a great segment.
Thank you.
I just, every now and then I will hang on to a script because I just think it's so important, either for myself or my friends or whatever. And that's a segment where I put the scripts to the side because I thought it's just jam-packed with stuff.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And there's no chance of your son having to go to the Middle East, is there?
I think I don't know. I don't know anything. All I know is right now he's in Cuba. And
Wow.
we
At
tried
Gitmo,
to,
yeah.
we tried to call him. We asked if we could call via text. He goes, I can only text. So that was striking to me. I don't know what's going on, but
I keep hearing all this stuff about Cuba and I'm like you. I mean, I don't know. Is it about ready to collapse or something? I have no clue. I mean, too many balls in the air to try to juggle. David, he's starting the clock. I'm ready to go here, Barb.
yeah.
And
I think
3.
the Marines, you never know. They take
I'll
you
pray
to-
for him anyway. I'll pray
Thank
for him, and if it turns out he just stays at Gitmo, that's fine. I'll pray for him there, or some of his other buddies who might be in the Middle East.
Thank you.
I am proud of the ones in Pakistan who defended the embassy. I'll say that.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear
3,
about
2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and the host of the program. Now, Barb, a lot of people look at those automated valuations like Zillow, or sometimes they'll ask their neighbors what they were asking for their home, and they think that is a good barometer for what they should be asking. Especially now that it's taking longer to sell a home, how does a home seller decide what price to set when they are selling their home?
Well, Richard, you wouldn't believe how many people I talk to that say, well, Zillow says my house is worth this much. And I'll just tell them, Zillow is fake news. They don't really care if they're accurate. In fact, what AI told me is Zillow's pricing is based on the average of the homes that are not selling, the ones that are on the market. So it doesn't make sense to me, but the problem is they position themselves to be the website that's attracting most of the buyer's eyes and the seller's eyes. So good for them. They made billions of dollars on the real estate industry, and all they care about is generating a buyer or seller lead and selling it back to real estate agents, dumb ones like me, that buy them. And they are good leads. Generally, they're people that are ready to act right now. But Zillow doesn't know the price of your home. Okay. What is the price of your home? It's the price that a buyer is willing to pay. And pricing a home correctly can mean the difference of you getting the most money, or it's just sitting on the market month after month, slowly walking the price down, and you end up netting less. And I'm not saying this just according to Barb. I'm saying this because this is based on statistical data from the National Association of Realtors. So if you price too high, first of all, the buyers know the market way better than many real estate agents. They know if it's a good buy. They won't even go see it if they don't think it's a good buy or if they don't like it, right? So the market's going to tell you right away, you're going to have fewer showings, low activity. That's not the right number for that house. And you're actually helping your competition sell a home. Well, nobody wants to do that. They want to sell their own home. So some people try to squeeze as much money as possible by overpricing their home. And they'll say, oh, well, we're going to need some negotiating room or something like that. But it could be enough where the buyer says, no, I'm not even going to go see it because it's out of my budget. So that's what these tech companies have done is they've taken the real estate market, put it online, shown the buyers everything around it, what all these homes are worth. So you can really get a pretty good assessment in a few seconds as to whether or not the home is priced right. And the buyers decide what price they're going to pay. And so that's one thing that happens. And then I really enjoy working with the sellers that say, hey, I want you to get me the most money. Almost all of them say that, but their brain is kind of twisted when I say, well, it doesn't mean you price it high to get the most money. Actually, you do just the opposite. And they're like, what are you talking about? So, and it does work because here's the thing, buyers look at everything that they can get in their price range at that point in time. If that home looks like the best home for their price range, they're going to do everything they can to get it, including make their best offer, including make offers above asking price. And they're making that go, no go decision online in seconds. And you'll never know how many buyers are actually looking at it before they do it. So I'm going to give you some examples to show you what I'm talking about. Recently, I sold a home this year. And I asked the seller, what do you want? What is your priority? Do you want to wait the average 120 days to get a contract? Or you want to sell fast? He goes, I want to sell fast. I said, okay, I think your home is worth $425 is what I told him at the time. But if you price it there, the buyers are going to pick it apart. They're going to say, oh, needs this. It's got popcorn ceilings and blah, blah, blah. You know, they're going to pick it apart. So they did everything perfect to get it ready for sale. They freshened up the paint, freshened up the carpet, fixed and cleaned everything. They did not remodel the kitchen or the bathrooms or anything like that, and priced it realistically. With that home, we had over 100 people at the open house. We ended up with 8 offers. I'm only going to talk about the top 4. But essentially the highest offer was 40,000 over asking price, but they were asking for concessions because it's really more like 420 or 33, right? 33,000 over asking price. The next highest offer, but that one was going to wait over a month to close. The financing was not as secure as the next highest offer. The next highest offer was 426 conventional, putting down a big down payment, close in 10 days. Done. There's no mystery to that one. And they were already pre-approved for their loan. So that's exactly what happened. We closed in 10 days and the seller ended up netting pretty close to what their asking price was after all expenses. So I think that is the best way to do it. I did it again last year in right before Memorial Day. One of my clients, he'd seen me do it for one of his neighbors. So he came to me, he goes, do what you did for my house like you did for the neighbor. I said, okay. So we figured out just a little bit less than what the market could command for that home, price it there, market it appropriately. We had 63 people at the open house, but we let one agent in early, which I don't like doing that, but I always ask the seller if they want to do it. And they presented a pretty good offer. It was a cash offer. It was 50,000 over asking price. But here was the kicker. The seller didn't want to pay more than 2% buyer's agent commission. And this buyer's agent insisted that the seller pay him 3%. Now, picture this buyer, right? They've got a home that they're selling in another state. It's already ready to close. It's pending, ready to close. They're a cash buyer. They need a place to go. They've already committed to selling their home. But who got in the way? Not the seller. We actually countered their offer. It was the buyer's agent that said, no, no way. Unless I get my 3%, it's a no. So there were two other buyers that were willing to do that same deal and do 2% commission. And the seller's like, look, I think 14,000 is a good amount of money for a buyer agent for not even maybe opening a door, and spending a few hours with the buyer. I said, yeah, I agree. It's a lot of money. So his buyer, the cash buyer, did not get the house. And then a few weeks after closing, this anonymous letter shows up at my client's house talking smack about me. And, it was very clear to me. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but I think that agent got fired because he didn't get the house that the buyer wanted. You can't get in the way. Don't get in the way of what the buyer wants, right? And that's exactly what this guy did. And he didn't know how to negotiate his own fee. He could have done that. He could have gotten the buyer to pay for it one way or another, but he didn't want to do it. So it's crazy what happens out there. And in the state of Colorado, it's 1 month of school. There's no job description. There's no standardization, and negotiations training is few and far between. So how do you know when you're on the market if you are priced right? Activity is going to leave clues right away. We just put one on the market yesterday. I'm getting call after call after call. Obviously, that's a high demand. It was priced right. It looks good. And it's a high demand property. So you can tell by calls. You can tell by the number of showings. You can tell by the number of offers. Those three things. Even the number of views on Zillow also is a pretty good clue. If you get a lot of views and at least 10% comparatively of saves, that's a good clue. So how do you know if you're priced right? If you're not getting very many showings, you're not priced right. If you're getting plenty of showings but no offers, you're close. You're within a few percentage points. And if you're getting offers, probably right on, stay there. You're going to get the right offer at some point. But if you price it, what I call very realistically, you will actually get multiple offers. And as a home seller, that is the position you want to be in. You're kind of in the catbird seat, basically, where you're saying, hey, I get to pick who's the best buyer for me. And I get to pick the best price and the best terms and the best closing date that works for me. You can even command things like being able to stay after closing for a short time, so you only have to move once. All those options are on the table if you price the home very realistically. And the way you figure out that number, we know how to do it. We'll meet with sellers. We'll show them what the market's doing. We'll look at the whole picture. We have to compare apples to apples for, quote, appraisal purposes. But then we also have to look at what's the current competition, who's getting contracts. All those things are a big thing. And buyers will notice something like days on market. So let's say you're on the market, it's not selling. And then you finally decide, okay, I'm gonna change the price to try to make something happen. It's okay. It's not too late. I will say there is that perception out there. It's not as bad as it was when the market was hot, but it's there now that if the home has been on the market a long period of time, the buyers think that, well, either there was something wrong, and the agents think it too. And typically I will go in to look at that property and go, well, the history indicates that they were priced up here and then they finally priced it down to where it should be, or they got a contract and the contract fell out. So that kind of detail is a little bit hard to find, but these tech companies like Zillow and Realtor.com, they show all the days on market. So you don't want that perception, but I had a listing recently up in Woodland Park where it was priced high. They systematically lowered the price to reach a point where they got to a price where all of a sudden we got 3 offers, and then we had multiple offers. We were able to get them to bid against each other, and we maximized the price that way. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how you price a home to get multiple offers. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to do that and do it fast and get the most money. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, owner, broker, and host of the program. You can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, what are some other magic bullets on pricing your home to get that top dollar?
Well, pricing just right really depends. Like it's not, you can't just look at a sold square footage and base it on the marketing. And, I was talking to a seller today. He had already talked to 2 other agents. He goes, yeah, they want to price my home really low. And it felt like they wanted to price it low to get a quick sale, like they were desperate for a sale. And I'm sure there's that perception out there in the market. And then he told me he already had a neighbor cash offer. I said, you should take it. I'd love to get your business, but that's a good offer. He was really shocked I said that, but you're going to get honesty from me. That's all there is to it. So when you look at homes, okay, you have to look at the big picture, not just that home. I helped a family that inherited a home up in Monument. It was a great lot, great floor plan, but it was very dated. In fact, it was the 80s time warp. The color of the carpet was like the shades that you have behind you, Richard, the mauve pinky color. And that was a thing for a very short while. I'm glad that trend is gone. So I said, all right, this is, should we remodel the kitchen? I'm like, no, that's not going to work. You definitely do flooring so they can move in and get on with their lives, right? But don't worry about remodeling the kitchen, because right next door, you've got these fancy custom homes that have all the bells and whistles. It's going to cost you over $100,000 to redo a kitchen minimum, and you're not going to get the money out of it. I said, just price it realistically. So that's exactly what we did. We had over 80 people at the open house. It sold for $75,000 over asking price. Boom, done. They were happy. And then I'm still talking about the stinky house. I could go on and on about that one, but basically we ended up writing, this was a buyer I was working. We wrote 5 different offers on the home. So this is what not to do. Reject or ignore offers. That was the first offer. We got a verbal counter. That was the second offer. And I put my foot down on that. I said, no, put it in writing and I'll present it. Otherwise, that's not real. The third one, we got a written counter because I insisted on it in the contract, and it was higher than the verbal fake counter. Then we got bid out by another fourth offer, got bid out by another buyer who later found out there was an HOA. Now, Richard, you would think if you're the listing agent, they would know there's an HOA, right?
That's a big deal. I would assume so. Yeah.
That wasn't known. But anyway, we finally got it on the 5th offer. So you need to work with an agent that understands pricing. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
One of the major reasons I recommend you to so many people is you are a trusted Navy veteran. And when people are thinking of buying or selling a home, it is Barb Schlinker. I'm Richard Randall. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with me, plus Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach Barb at 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be discussing, do you keep showing your house after you have already accepted an offer on the home? Barb's got that answer. Stay tuned. Is that all right? Can you glue that together there, David?
Was that too long, David? What do you say?
Of course.
Of course.
But he had a smile on his face when he said it, so he was jovial, in fact.
If you need to cut, you can cut the stinky house. I just keep
I'm not cutting the stinky house.
Boy,
I didn't say.
tell you though,
That's a segment you can smell.
I'm not sure that I knew all of the details on that showing, especially that you made that much over the asking price. I mean, I knew 100 people, 8 offers, and all of that. It's even, that was amazing. Even more amazing now that I know what you actually got over the asking price.
Yeah.
You're amazing, Barb. I think you know that.
Just keep trying stuff.
All right. Let's see. I'm good to go. David, he's nodding. Barb, you good?
Yeah, let me just get to the right slide. Hang on a sec.
You do that. I'm going to take a sip of Red Bull because I'm running out of energy here. I think I'm running out of Red Bull too.
I'm dying. So.
Good. I thought it was just me. Since almost everything is about me, I thought it was just about me.
It was supposed to be cool today. It's not.
It's almost 80 degrees in here.
Are you? No wonder. I wore this today because I'm usually hot in here.
Yeah.
And I was hot with this. I thought it was like 74 or something. Jeez. All right.
What was it set at? 80?
It was sitting at 79 degrees. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm dying here. So
The morning people come in, and overnight it gets pretty cold in here.
Yeah.
So they come in and they'll set it at a number. The problem is with all of these computers and all the electronics, the room heats up just from them. So if you don't modify it as you go through the day, you end up with 79 degrees, which the morning people, that doesn't bother them. David and I are a little bit different than that. So, all right. You good to go, Barb?
Yeah.
Or do you want to hear more about our thermostat? Let's go ahead and record the show. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs you and 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Realty and the host of the program. Now, Barb, most people worry about leaving money on the table when they're accepting an offer. Can they still show their home and look at other offers after they've already accepted a contract?
Well, yes, they can. In fact, I have to present all offers, even if they come in late in the process, right? I have no choice. That's law, which is a good thing. However, whoever's in first position, their contract would have to be defeated before another buyer would get the house. But is that certainty for the seller? No, it's not certainty because the buyer still has all of their due diligence stuff. They do the inspection and the appraisal, and they got to get loan approval if they're getting a loan. There's all these things where they could just walk away, no harm, no foul, get their earnest money back and leave the seller starting over again, which most sellers hate that part if it happens. It doesn't happen as often, fortunately. And most home sellers want the certainty to know that this deal is going to go through, because when they accept a contract, they're already moving. They're already packing their bags. They're making plans. They have to be out of the house within a month or so. So they want certainty that the house will sell, certainty that they're getting their price, and that things will go smoothly. But is it easy to guarantee that? Not necessarily. I'm battling right now with a buyer agent that thinks that the meter that the inspector's gadget reads temperature is a moisture meter. It does not read moisture. That's just wrong. And the problem is the state doesn't regulate inspections. So it could blow up the deal. That's their line in the sand. They're worried about moisture in the walls. So anyway, so we'll have to find a way to give them a warm fuzzy to let the deal go through. But in the meantime, I'm still marketing. There are other buyers looking at it. There are buyers that are talking about putting in a backup offer, even though they know there is a contract. So that's the kind of agent that you want, somebody that's going to keep selling that home until we get to closing, right? You want somebody that gives you certainty that one way or the other, we're going to get this done. And the home seller can have the funds so they can move on to their next home or their next destination. And a lot of people think that the offers themselves are public information. That's not. That's private. So when you get an offer, even when you get multiple offers, unless I publish that, which I will, if you get 2 or more, I'm gonna play mom against dad all day long and try to get multiple offers, right? But not every agent does that. Some just say, oh, we accepted that offer and didn't even give the other buyer a chance. I've seen that happen quite a bit. But at the end of the day, for most of the time, the other agents don't know about the existence of other offers. Now, some will ask, a large percentage will ask, hey, my buyer wants to make an offer. Do you have any other offers? Right. And we do have an obligation to present all offers. And we usually check in the state form that we will tell agents the existence of other offers if they ask. You can always accept what's called a backup contract, meaning you've got contract number A waiting for them to do their thing, but you can accept another contract in backup. And I have had experiences where buyer number 2 ended up getting the house for various reasons. So it's always a good idea to be ready and have your next buyer in your back pocket, because things can happen, right? So how does the home seller really know it's going to go through? First of all, we guarantee. We have all these guarantees. We show up with cash offers. It gives you an offer in your back pocket to work with. You need equity for those, but it's another backup option for you. We're the team that gets you top dollar. We try to make the process as low hassle as possible and educate you on what to expect, because some things that happen are just crazy. I mean, we had one deal fall out not too long ago because the inspector made up this thing about, oh, it must have structural problems. And this home seller actually measured the level of each floor when he bought the house. We even brought in a structural engineer just to double check that. There's no problem with the structure. But according to the inspector, oh, there must be problems. And keep in mind, in the state of Colorado, there is no license, no criteria to be an inspector. I could be an inspector, and you don't want me handling a tool. I'm sorry, but it's just not even paint. It'll all get in my hair. So another thing that can make a deal fall apart would be a sale contingency. Oh, we want to buy your house, but it's contingent on our house selling. That's not even on the market yet, right? So I'm going to say it someday to an agent. Well, you don't have a buyer. You have somebody that likes the house. That's essentially it. But it's great that they like the house. And guess what? We have solutions for them. We actually have buyers that will step in and buy their home so they could buy our listing. Not every agent can do that, but we can. I've had sellers in the past that would accept a contingent offer. And I'd ask the agent, so what price are you going to price that home at? Because they didn't have any other interest. They really wanted to engage this buyer, but their house wasn't on the market yet. So they did it against my advice. I can't, that's their decision. And so I asked the agent at the time, so where are you going to price that home that you're putting on the market? And she goes, well, I don't know, but it has granite counters and it's really pretty. Well, what ended up happening is she priced it for, no kidding, at least $125,000 over what the market could command. That home wasn't going to sell while we were still kind of young. It wasn't going to happen. And fortunately, it blew up over inspection and we got a new buyer in there, but it just wasn't going to work out. So we don't know the expertise or the motivation level on the other end. That's why it's such a risky thing. Now, if their home is under contract, different story. They're a little bit further down the process and they're buying the home, but now you got to worry about your buyer plus their buyer, your inspection plus their inspection, your appraisal plus their appraisal. So it doubles the risk when you accept a contingent offer. And then, the status in the MLS. So if you follow the MLS rules, which I behave when I have to, but basically one of the rules is that you have to change the status if you've accepted a contingent offer to something that's called RGT, which is supposed to mean right of refusal. That's what the RGT is an acronym for. But the problem is when you go out to the tech companies and Realtor.com and Zillow and those websites, it shows as if it's under contract, just like all the other homes that are under contract. Guess what? Instant other buyer repellent when you've accepted a maybe offer on the house. So it doesn't open, it basically creates demand destruction for other buyers. So it's not a good thing. It doesn't help home sellers, but these are the rules that we're bound with by our association. So I don't play their games sometimes, especially if it hurts my seller, and take me to the MLS and book me. I don't care. And then, I've had buyers insist on it, but I've seen the demand destruction that takes place, and I won't let them do it. So at the end of the day, you really want to hire the team that has your back, that's trying to get your home sold, no matter who the buyer is. And so you want to verify that, ask some really hard questions. That's why I do this show, is to educate people on the real world, kind of behind the curtain of real estate. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about whether or not a seller can still show their house after they accept an offer. Answer is absolutely yes. And next up, we're going to be talking about some solutions that may be able to help you move on to your next home hassle-free with absolute certainty. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program, and she should be your real estate voice. Barb, we've gone from nearly all homes selling for a premium price to homes sitting longer on the market and some homes actually not selling at all. How do you give your home sellers certainty when it comes to sale?
Well, I meet with sellers, for me, more often than buyers. I have agents on my team that do the buyers for the most part, or a combination thereof. And what I find in my experience is that most people are reluctant to move unless they have a destination lined up, right? So they might be willing to accept an offer, but once you do, you're committed, right? You're committed to, moving forward with that offer. So that means that you have to have a destination. And so some people will start looking for their destination first. And if you're in the financial position, like I meet with some people that it's really luxurious, that they have a paid for home, they could buy their next home first and then take their time moving, or move first, whichever it is. That's a really nice thing, but not everybody can swing that financially. So we have solutions for that. We have investors. These are buyers that are lenders that want to get your loan when you buy your next home. They will go pay cash for your next home, and then you put your house on the market. And that gives you a lot more options. So if you want to find out about those programs, we have 3 of them that do that. Give us a call at 719-301-3900. In general, the qualification is you have to have about 30% equity. The cost of the program is very low, between 1.95 and 2.5%. And they're different programs. So we have 3 different ones that we can present to you. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 if you want to make a move, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Hang on one second here, Barb, because I've got, okay, I got both of my scripts 3 and 4. Yeah.
So number 4 is about
how to choose the best realtor to sell your house.
Yeah, let me bring that up. Hang on a second. I go off script. I can't help it.
No, it's all good. I should do a better job of laying these out. The desk looks a little messy because I'm trying to read and follow what you're doing. Then I'm trying to read ahead and mark up the script, and sometimes it doesn't work. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to choose the best real estate agent, plus how you sell your home and Barb's hot new listings. I'm glad in that one that you mentioned the selling and buying aspect of that, because I don't do it very often, but from time to time I do mention that, you don't just do sales, that you do purchases as well. And then I'll throw in, because I just never knew this, that, even on a new construction, Barb can help you and negotiate. Everything's not written in stone. I think everybody, or at least most people I've talked with, would say, no, it's written in stone. All right. I know.
So DJ's going on to his next thing.
Well, the other normally what we do is we record here and finish up here, but in the meantime, he starts recording across the hall. But she wants to use this studio, so but her guest is going to be here in person, so they just wait a little bit.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
on.
Okay. All right. I got 4 ready to go. You good, Barb?
Yeah.
Count us down in 3.
That's why I went out there to see if I could.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Yeah.
Everything, but
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, she said it was a priority, so I wouldn't imagine her having to wait 5 or 10 minutes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Barb, you know that I've recommended you and your team for years, but many people put very little planning or thought into picking a real estate agent to handle one of their very largest assets. Barb, how do home sellers choose the best realtor when they are selling their home?
Well, Richard, not all real estate agents are the same. It's only 1 month of school to be an agent. There's no job description. There's no how to. We have massive turnover in the industry. Almost 90% of agents get out of the business every 5 years. And a lot of people will work with the agent that maybe sold them the home. Oh, they were nice and I like them. And they don't ask questions that are really valid when it comes to handling one of your biggest assets. I just sold a home recently where they had fired their first agent, and the feedback from the wife is the sign doesn't even say the home is for sale. That was just one thing, but it had been on the market for a long time. It didn't sell. We put it on the market at the same price, improved the marketing, and it sold in 2 weeks. So it really matters who you hire. And not everybody knows about marketing. Not everybody studies marketing. You can tell that by looking at the photos that if you look at homes online, you'll go, oh my God, look at that mess. Why are they putting that out there? They couldn't think of that before they published that picture. But the sad thing is that in the industry, there's very little training on pricing, marketing, negotiating, closing, or even closing as an example. Like I'll get feedback sometimes that said, oh, my buyers love the home, but they're still looking. And that's a mistake. You're supposed to get them to the finish line. If they say the love word, it's time to make an offer. Instead, they show them more homes. So I don't understand it. Anyway, picking the wrong agent really can cost the home seller thousands of dollars. And a lot of people really just don't know what question to ask. So here are the facts. Most home sellers only talk to one agent. Oftentimes it could be the agent that sold them the home. 81% of agents sell 3 or less. It's probably worse than that. I was just talking to my stager yesterday, and she was telling me she talked to some agent that she knew that said, I didn't sell any homes last year. I'm like, ooh. And the problem is, according to Zillow, that number is up to 72% of the agents have not sold any homes. And I don't blame them. They're probably good people. They could probably do a good job. I just think that the training is not out there to help them move their business to the right level. And so if you look at what happens like in the Pikes Peak region, there might be anywhere from 700 to 1,000 listings that might sell every single month. Well, there's 6,300 agents. That means most of them aren't even having one closing. We're having multiples of. So that gives you an idea kind of what's going on in the market. You want somebody that can do this. And you got to be really careful on the ones that you interview. If they come in and say, oh, yeah, I can get you $1 million for the house, and it's not reality, what they're trying to do is make the other agents be the bad guy by putting the house on the market at that price and it's not selling. And then they get the feedback from the agents going, I thought the price was too high. I thought the price was too high. But really the feedback is people aren't looking at it, right? They're not coming to see it. That tells me the price is too high right there by itself. Or maybe you're hiring part-time agents. You wouldn't believe How many agents reach out to me after business hours on Sundays at night, late at night? Oh my God, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. And you can hear the restaurant in the background where they're working. You know, they have other jobs. A whole bunch of them are part-time. So what do agents want from what do sellers want from agents? They want how to price the home appropriately. They want to know that they priced it right and that the marketing is correct, and they want their home sold essentially. So how come, why would you let somebody handle the sale of your home right at this point? A lot of people say, oh, you should price the home based on what Zillow says. Well, Zillow absolutely and realtor.com are fake news. They price the home based on other homes that are on the market that have not sold yet. They don't look at sold comps, and that's a problem because, you know, it's not reality. And sometimes they inflate the numbers, and as a company, their mission is just to get buyer and seller leads and sell them to real estate agents. That's how they've become a billion-dollar company. And they don't really care if their data is correct or not. So another issue, you might have agents say, oh yeah, I'll put it in the MLS, I'll list it for 1% or whatever. And you're not, you get what you pay for in this market. I hate to say that, but it's absolutely true. And if they are going to cut commission, that means that they're not going to pay for really high quality professional photos. They're not going to give you the attention. All these things factor into your decision. Now, one of the things that we offer is a free report called the 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent. You can get that by going to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on free reports. You'll actually get 3. You'll get real estate agent selection factors, facts and answers for your selection criteria, and the questions that you should ask. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. Next up, we're going to be hitting on some of those interview questions, and we'll also be talking about our hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, we're talking about giving the audience information so they can find the best agent to sell their home. What are some other questions that a home seller should be asking when they're hiring a real estate agent?
Well, some of these questions will make agents very uncomfortable. How many buyers are you working with right now? How likely is your company to bring a buyer to our house? Are all the buyers you're bringing qualified to buy a house? I don't know if you know this, but the state of Colorado does not mandate that the agents verify the buyer can buy a house before they sell the home. So to me, that's unbelievable, but it is a fact. So you don't know if somebody's coming and looking at your house actually can buy a house. The buyers treat it almost like buying cars, where they go look at the car, they drive the car, they love the car, and the next thing you know, oh, okay, how do I get financing on it, right? So that happens a lot, and most agents are hoping that these buyers that come look at the house maybe can qualify, and if they don't like that house, they'll go sell them another one. I would also ask if you could cancel the contract if you're not satisfied. That's very important. We actually provide some guarantees. We've got buyers in waiting, honest promises, communication guarantee, home sold guarantee, and cancellation guarantee. Those all come with our package. Also, agents hope you don't ask how many homes they sold. If they're not forthcoming with that, that could be an issue. Or how many do you sell a month? How many have you sold in my area? Those are all tough questions that make most agents squirm if they're not selling. We're selling every 72 hours. We're not saying that to brag. We're just saying that based on our statistics, we know what's going on in the market, and we can help you because we have our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the market. Way more than the average agent that sells maybe 1 to 3 homes a year. Good question. Why should I list with you over all the other choices that we have? That's good. And that's where we're going to talk about what's the marketing that's going to get results. Do you have offers? How many agents show up at the door with offers? We do that. So all these things are available to you, but it starts with, you can order your free report called The Questions You Should Ask Before You Hire an Agent. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on that green button, and you can download it for free. Richard?
As always, you can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. And Barb, you've got some hot new listings lightning round. Tell us about them.
I do. I have a beautiful townhome in school district 12, Cheyenne Mountain School District. Very, very desirable area. This home basically has 2 master suites plus a loft plus a 2-car garage that has room for expansion, priced at the great price at $279,900. I have a really great home we're featuring actually this weekend, 4104 Channing Place, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, massive yard with a pool and a covered porch. Priced at just $319,900. A great home down in Pueblo, 5101 Gold King at $379,900. This beautiful 2-story home has 3 bedrooms plus a loft in a great location. And then we have a beautiful home coming up on Warriors Path out on acreage, gorgeous remodeled home. Another great one at 2436 North Mead at $325,000. And then a couple of, we have a continuous flow, I hate to say this, of homes that are owned by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs that represent sometimes the best buys. So to find out about those, even the ones that are not on market, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured properties, and you'll be able to find out about all of them. One of the ones that we have featured right now is on Bramble Drive. This is off of Mark Sheffel. Really adorable 3-bedroom, 3-bath home with a 2-car garage at the low price of $365,000. We have another great home on 30 Stevens Drive in Florissant, priced at just $400,000 on 2 acres. And then a spectacular home, 7518 Vincent Drive, priced at $999,900. This home has the most beautiful views you've ever seen, and it is in pristine condition. It's on 2+ acres. It has brand new siding, new roof, new triple pane windows, remodeled kitchen with top of the line appliances, main level living at its best, and total privacy on acreage. We also have an amazing house, 34050 Judge Orr Road. This one is on 80 acres, 1.4 million. It has the main house, it's 5,400 square feet, a gorgeous ranch with a walkout basement with solar, by the way. Plus it has 2 different barns, an auxiliary dwelling unit, another house on the property, almost 3,000 square feet. One of the newer barns, they were keeping adorable alpacas, but now they've rehomed the alpacas, and they had a horse barn, alpaca barn. They also have a really nice garden dome. And this is almost a self-sustaining, beautiful home. And it's available on Judge Orr Road and a beautiful lot on Hidden Valley. To find out about all of our properties, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured homes. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and she's the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the only person I would recommend. I'm Richard Randall, and if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, always great to be talking with you. You have a great week. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Have a fabulous weekend.
There you go.
All right, that was a short
There
one.
are times I have to say when I look at, your hot new listings, and we're not even remotely close to doing anything, but I look at some of these and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. So which one would you like us to go with here?
Hang on, I gotta go look at the list.
And I was trying to pack up, so. Yeah. The only thing I've done right.
I think I like simple ways to net more money when you sell your Colorado house.
I like that. All right. Headphones are off, so we'll do it in 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday from 11 until noon, right after Cudlow, here on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb's talking about simple ways to net more money when you sell your Colorado home. If you cut and paste, or you want me to do it again? All right. I'm going to say goodbye so I can get out of the studio and the next people can come in. Barb, great talking with you. Be
guys.
safe. I'll be praying for your son.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You too. All right. I started to pack up a little.
All right, Griff, we're staying on. how do you want to do this? You want me to just bring up the VSL or it doesn't matter? I can't hear you now. You could chat. I don't like this. I'm going to put it on AI. I don't like the. Let me do a little research here, Griff, before we get going on this. I paid for AI and I don't know which one I paid for. And every time I go on there, it goes, you got to pay us. I already paid. See?